So Marina, you're like a blogger? Like, what does that mean? What do you do? Like,
And Natalie, I heard you run an online business. Like, how do you earn money? Does that even work?
yeah, it's like a job, I'm self-employed. How many of you have had this experience where a well-meaning, I don't actually, I take that back. A random person, a family member, a friend, some person on Facebook is like berating you with these questions that are kind of insulting, none of their business, and just like, why are you talking to me?
Yeah, it's literally like, how do you make money? What do you even do with your life? Like, you spend the whole day at home, like, you literally don't do anything. What you're doing is not important. And I've literally gotten so many variations along those lines. And you're literally just like, this is like a regular business. I also have bills that need to be paid. I need to support myself.
This is when
So
I hide in my hair and I run.
that's literally how I feel whenever someone asks me something like that. I'm like, so yeah. And literally what we're talking about today is like how you should actually answer those people, because sometimes when you're actually doing this job, it can hurt yourself. Depending on the way they phrase this, it can hurt your feelings.
Right? And kind of make you want to cry. So, especially if a lot of people have no idea what blogging even is, right? I don't know, what do they think? Like, hey, gossip girl? Like, I don't know. Like, there actually are no points of reference in popular culture for what a blogger actually does. If you think about it, there are no movies, there are no TV shows that I can think of where the main character accurately portrayed. Actually, no, I've been watching Special on Netflix, and they work for that Egg Woke. It's like a online magazine, so maybe that. But I work way harder than those people. Like, I don't. That's like not an accurate portrayal.
Yes,
So
that's the thing, because I feel like a lot of times when people portray bloggers or YouTubers, they just show,
influencers.
yeah, they show the glam part of it, but not the part where they're actually sitting at their laptops and working for hours on end. Exactly. Just posting on social media, looking pretty. And that's, although that may be a part of it, that's literally not even close to a fraction of what we do in our day-to-day lives.
Yeah. Basically, I don't look like this for one. I am always wearing pajama pants.
I'm wearing leggings. So it's literally show and no show.
Exactly. Okay. So, Marina, how would you actually answer what do you do? Like, what do you actually do? Like, so you're a blogger.
Exactly. I feel like you just have to break things down, because people don't really know. They don't have, exactly as you said, you don't have a point of reference as to what you actually do. And when you break things down, like when I'm posting a YouTube video, is not just me sitting down in front of a camera and blabbing away about a particular topic. When I break down to everyone the steps involved in actually coming up with a YouTube video idea, and then actually scripting that video, recording, editing, uploading it, adding all the SEO features, people are like, whoa, that's actually all that goes in. Because sometimes you're just sitting there watching a 5-minute video, 10-minute video, and they have no idea that hours and hours go into creating those just like 5-10 minutes that you're actually seeing on screen.
So, I also love to take the approach of like, I don't necessarily call myself a blogger. So, like, say, for example, I'm applying for life insurance. I don't say blogger. I say, actually, I'm a content creator. Or, so explaining to a family member, I'm like, well, I create content, I create courses, I create and sell online courses. I'm also do affiliate marketing. I am a social media manager. I also am basically a receptionist all rolled into one. And yes, that's why I work 7 days a week, because it's a lot of work.
It really
Right?
is. Yes, and exactly going along those same lines. When someone asks me, what do? I say that I'm an online business owner, because you may see just one part of it, but the other parts behind the scenes where we're just planning on creating new content, planning on new ways to earn income, because that's another thing about being an online business owner. If you don't put in the hours, you don't get anything in return. You're not going to get that paycheck because there's no one there to give you that paycheck but yourself. So your work, or how much you earn per month, depends solely on what you put into this business. So everything that you're doing is literally falls on your shoulders.
Yeah, there's no like, oh, I just show up to work, or I just log on to Slack and they think I'm working, right? Like there's no like half-assing your way to being successful if you run an online business or a blog. Yes, things will get to a point where you have, like, I like to call it like a base income. So like I have my base from, which is like passive income that I earn, but it's passive in the sense that I bust my ass for 4 years. So like, I don't know how passive that is. Like, I'm just now reaping the rewards of like all that time I spent building up my traffic to my site. So I can earn ad income through like Mediavine. So I can have passive sales of my planner and my courses. It's like you put in the work up front and then you hopefully, you get paid later on. So that brings me to another question, which I get a lot is, so how do you make money? I actually want to read you guys a really rude comment someone left on my blog. So Marina, answer that question and I hope I can find it. So how do you make money?
Well, when you're an online business owner, there are so many different ways that you can actually earn money online. And some people have no idea not only what those ways are, but also how these things work. For instance, ads, be them on your blog or from YouTube videos or all of that. You may have two people who are exactly the same. Maybe they have the exact number of views on a YouTube video and they have the exact same subscriber count. The amount of money that these two people will earn may differ because there's so many things that go into it. One of those things are the cost per thousand or revenue per thousand that each person earns. And these numbers not only are different per person, but they're also different by video, by niche, by all of that. So maybe you can create one video where you're earning a lot higher cost per thousand, which are cost per 1,000 views, and then another video of your own, or then some other person. So it's also a lie to say that people with thousands or millions of subscribers earn more than a smaller YouTuber, because when in fact, depending on their niches, that bigger YouTuber may actually be earning less than that smaller YouTuber.
And don't feel bad if you're not making a lot. I think a lot of the times when we get these questions early on, it can be very dangerous for your confidence. It can cause you to give up because maybe you're not making money yet. And that's okay because you're investing the time of building. So like, for example, when I quit the 9 to 5, this is the conversation I had with myself. These are two ways I justified it. And this is kind of how I justify it to other people. I was like, listen, if I add up the amount of time that I will commute, so the average daily commute in Toronto is like 2 hours one way, people. So I added that up, 4 hours a day times 5 days a week times, 4 to 5 weeks times 12 months times, say 30 years. It adds up to like 6 years, like 6 24-hour days. And I was like, you know what? How about I take that time and I build something that is going to make it so I never have to work again. Or I think about it this way, an undergraduate degree, it takes 4 years to earn it, and you're not making any money during that time. You're actually just creating debt that you're probably going to be stuck with for like 20 years. So this is how I explain it to people who don't understand why I don't have a job and why I decided to work for myself. And I'm like, well, you spent 4 years earning a degree you don't even use that you then have to pay off. So how about I spend 4 years building a business that's going to pay me till I'm dead.
And that's the thing. When you start, no one will know who you are probably unless you're a social media sensation overnight. So you have to put in those building blocks. I remember when I got started, so many people were like, oh, you're just wasting your time. This will never be successful. But the thing is, if you believe in yourself and if you put in the work, although you may not be earning that much when you're starting off, I remember on my very first year, because I was still working on another 9 to 5 job, I earned from my business $200, a little over $200.
I'm gonna celebrate those $200 because
Exactly. I was so happy. I remember when I made my very first sale, I was literally jumping up and down because I'm like, that is one person who believed in myself, one person who didn't know who I was, who believed in me. And those one person turned into 10, which then turned into 50, and things start growing from there on out. But the thing is, if you don't start, if you don't believe in yourself, and if you don't put in the work, you will never get that money or that freedom that you want. And that's another thing you need to think about, what's in it for you. Because for me, it was never about 100% about the money. I was like, I want to have the freedom to be able to travel, to be able to have my own schedule. And that was more important than anything else. So even if I wasn't earning anything, I was like, this is the lifestyle I want to live. And that's sometimes what people don't understand, because they have those 9 to 5 jobs where if they're not working those 8-hour days in a specific office, they think you're not working. But the thing is, I can work for months and months on end nonstop and then have like 1 month off if I so wish.
And I think because of the pandemic, a lot of people are more understanding of, okay, oh, you work at home. Okay, that makes sense. And also how having a traditional 9 to 5 job is not as secure as people previously thought, because I came to that realization 5 years ago. I'm like, at any time, these people can fire me. This is not a secure, if I want to build a secure future for myself, I need to build it myself. And like Marina said, she made $200 her first year. So I think I shared my numbers with you. I don't share my income online. That's my business. No one else's. But from my first year to my second year, I grew by 142%. The year after that, my income grew by 60%. The year after that, my income grew by 40%. So find me a job that is going to give you those massive increases, right? And it's insane. Like, it's like, just keep going, because all of this, it becomes exponential growth. So I just want to share with you guys this comment that I got from this rude ass person back in 2018 when I was just starting. Hi, Natalie. Didn't even spell my name right. Excuse me for asking, but what exactly do you sell? What brings in the money? I can't see any sales pages or basket or products that would pay your bills. Am I missing something here? Thanks, Pam. Well, Pam, like, so if
This video is for
like
Pam
that,
and all the Pams out there, basically.
don't let it get to you. Don't let, because here's the thing, all these people, they hang their whole existence and their value on their paycheck, and your paycheck is not your value. Your paycheck doesn't define or even doesn't say what your destiny is. It's nothing. It's just money. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're not making any right now, because you're building towards that, and you can always make more money. Like, it's like, it has no real value. And I really have a problem with somebody looking at me or at you and saying, you're not successful unless you're making X, Y, and Z. That's not true. Okay. You can find success. If you start that blog, you start that YouTube video, check mark. That is a version of success. And you got to hold on to that. And don't let anyone tell you different.
100%. I feel like so many people need to hear that out there, because they just think that in order for them to be a successful blogger or YouTuber or online business owner, they need to be hitting those metrics that you see in those videos online where there are people with driving those really fancy cars and living in mansions, whereas success may not be that for you. I feel like for me, one day when I felt like I was successful was when actually my grandma was at the hospital and I didn't have to worry about my online business, because I feel like all of the systems were in place, but I could actually be there for her and spend time with her. And it was like, for me, this is priceless. Like, I wouldn't change this for absolutely anything else out in the world.
Love that. And for me, it is also the freedom. And yeah, it's like, I always say this, every day is a work day and a holiday. I can decide. I can decide if I'm going to work 12 hours or if I'm going to work for 1 hour. I have that freedom, and I spend most of my time in this room, but hey, I love my office. I got my comfy chair. And once I'm allowed to travel, you're going to see me on that side of the screen.
100%. So whenever someone else comes to you and you're like, how you make money, how do you work, like what do you do? Hopefully this video will help you out and figure out your own answer. It doesn't need to be the same answer as ours. If you have something different, comment down below and let us know so we can all help each other out there.
Honestly, and as long as you know what your answer is and your reason is, it doesn't matter what anyone else says. So be sure to give this video a thumbs up, comment down below, letting us know what are some crazy things that people have asked you about blogging, YouTubing, or running an online business. Be sure to subscribe to my channel because we'll be here next week the same time, and to
My channel down over here for new videos every week on how to stand out online. And also make sure that you check out this video over here for even more amazing ideas.
and we'll see you next week.
Bye.